Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. And I'm Dennis, and today we're going to continue on a video that I did the other day. It was using the SP-445 to develop your 4x5 film. And I did a video on how this tank works for developing 4x5 film. And we have the film loaded in the tank, so we're ready to develop it. And so I'm going to go over how I develop my 4x5 film. How you choose to could be completely different. We'll get started. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm using Rodinal, and I'm going to be mixing this about 1 to 50. Very close, 1 to 50. And I use Rodinal pretty much exclusively. It's very easy, especially since I'm traveling and such as that. So it's my choice of developer, and I will be mixing this, like I said, 1 to 50. I will do that off film. But what I'm doing with my chemicals is I will be mixing them up, and then I'll put them in the refrigerator and get them to the 68 degrees, and then it'll be pretty close to 68 degrees by the time the film's developed, and so we can say it was developed in a 68 degree developer. And I'm also going to be using some Kodak stop bath, which at home I never really used any stop bath, but here on the road, with not knowing what kind of water I'm getting and such as that, I'm started using stop bath, and so I've already got this mixed up in a bottle, so it'll be ready to go. But I will put it in the refrigerator also and get it at 68 degrees. For fixer, I'm using Ilford's rabbit fixer. It's another thing that I have already mixed up. I won't worry about getting it to 68 degrees. I will just use it at room temperature. And right now here in New Mexico, it's cooled off a little bit, so I'm not running the air conditioner, which I can't do in the videos anyway because it's being so noisy. But it's cooled off. It's been raining a little bit. This will be at room temperature, which is probably going to be in the probably upper 70 degree range, which should be okay. I'm also using a wetting agent, which at home I never really used. I didn't really have trouble with spotting, but again, with the issue of not knowing the quality of the water I get from campground to campground, I've decided to start using a wetting agent. I think I'm pretty happy that I have decided to do that, because otherwise I would be getting spotty film, I'm sure, with some of the low quality, and some of the places is well water, and so you have a lot of the iron and different things, sulfur, and you don't know what, that will spot the film. So I am using a wetting agent, and so I'll just use a few drops at the end. I will get this stuff mixed up, and we will continue the video once I've got them mixed up, got them down to 68 degrees, and we'll continue the video and I'll show you exact process that I use for developing this batch of 4x5 film. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Of course, we have Freddie back here keeping an eye on things, make sure I do everything right. He just sneaking his head up over the shelf there that we have. So he's keeping an eye on things. We'll be back. Okay everyone, we're back. And one thing I didn't mention, I am using distilled water. With using distilled water, the reason why I use the chemicals that I explained earlier is that I don't want to use a lot of distilled water, where I would be using running water. Otherwise, with distilled, I just want to use the exact amounts and go from there. So now we're going to proceed. Stuff out of the refrigerator. It is right at 68 degrees. We have the Rodinal developer. Add a mixture of about 1 to 50. And this is the fill drain. This is the vent. So I will fill it up through the fill drain. Put that one on. Then what I do is grasp it here. I force air here, squeezing, and seal it up. Now with any luck, there's no leaks. Now I do complete turns for about the first 30 seconds. Like I say, this is how I do it. How you choose to do it, or how you've been doing it, or how other people do it is totally up to them. But I do for about 30 seconds. I am going to actually develop it probably for right around 6 minutes. I've been doing about 6.5, but I think I'm going to cut it back to about 6 minutes. And then during that 6 minutes, I'm going to do like 3 or 4 turns, complete turns, about every minute. Probably comes out to about 45 seconds. That's how I do it. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, don't ask me that question, because everybody's got their opinions. That should be about 30 seconds. So now we'll wait, and I will do the 3 or 4 turns for every minute for the next 6 minutes, or approximately 6 minutes. It'll be about 5.5 minutes now. I'm not keeping real accurate time here because I'm recording with my iPhone, which I usually use for my timer. So let's give it 4 turns here. And so we will do this for 6 minutes, and then we'll do the stop bath. And actually the stop bath I'm going to put back in the refrigerator for just a couple minutes so I can keep it at 68 degrees. It's not ideal doing it in a small travel trailer, but it's fun. And it just proves that you can develop black and white film just about anywhere. If you have a laundry room, it's great. If you have a bathroom, it's great. Kitchen, that's the last place I would do it, but it's okay. But it's so many places that you can, as long as you got some water, you can do it. Like here, I'm not really going to be using running water very much. So even if you didn't have running water, it wouldn't be that big a deal. Let's give it our turns. And if you notice, I'm giving it turns to the right and the left, which completes the turns. Now whether, SP-445 instructions tell you that way, or what way they tell you, instructions to me are suggestions, especially when you're doing black and white film development. It's something that can be done so many different ways. I do a lot of stand development doing my 120 film in 35mm, and so there's so many different ways you can do it. It's just unbelievable. But you can go online, search it, and you can find a lot of different suggestions on how long to develop your film, according to what developer you're using and such as that, and the type of film you're using. On this, I'm using some expired film. It's actually very old. Some Arista 100. And let's see here. It actually looks like it's 2013, 2012, somewhere around in there, expired film, which works well. I've never had any problems. The color film I have, it is up to snuff. It is not expired or anything like that. I am keeping more time on roughly the 6 minutes, and we'll go from there. When we're all done, I'm going to use these type of hangers, and I will hang them in the shower of the RV. It works out good. Clip them right on the corner. It's got a good snap to it. Clip them right on the corner, and you're good to go. You might ask, where do you get your chemicals, stuff like that? You know, do your research online. You can get them many places anymore. They're all about the same price. And film, shop around a little bit. Sometimes you can find it at a better price here and there, but right now film's just very expensive. Color 4x5 shot, you're looking at about $5 every time you're squeezing the shutter. So I don't shoot a lot of color film. First off, I have to send it off and get it developed, and also it's expensive. But I will be shooting some coming up. But we're going along here. We're about probably got about another 30 seconds or close to a minute on this. We're probably going to be closer to my 6.5 minutes that I normally do. I'm going to give it a quick 3 turns, and then we're going to prepare to empty everything. So I will undo the vent, undo the fill, the developer. As you can see, it comes out a nicky green color. I don't pre-soak my film. You could do that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I've really found that there's not that big a difference in the pre-soaking for myself. Others might decide that pre-soaking is the way to go. Okay, we'll do the same thing again. Put the one on the pour side. It's actually a little full, so we will just dump a little bit out of the vent side. We will squeeze. And now for me, I use a stop bath for about 2 minutes. I will turn for about 30 seconds. Like I say, I've developed my own way of doing this. I'm not saying it's the right way, so if you disagree with me, that's fine. Do it your way, or research the way that you would like to do it. That's the best thing to do. But black and white film is very forgiving, so it's your main thing is your developer. You want to get it to where it's not underdeveloping, and you don't want to get it to where it's overdeveloping. So sometimes you've got to test where that happy medium is as far as the development, so you don't overdevelop or underdevelop. I try, and I don't succeed very often. I try to develop just to where it begins to be shown underdeveloped, because I don't really want it overdeveloped. So it's a matter of just try to be precise on the developing part, but then that is sometimes experimental. Like I say, I was doing 6.5 minutes. I'm trying to do this one at about 6 minutes. I'm not real sure I'm being real successful because I'm not timing it real accurately. And I'm not, sorry about that. I'm not, now I'll do this again for about 5 or 6 turns, and then I'll leave it sit. The stop bath you can use over and over again. When I say over and over again, comes to a point that it stops. I just try to use it until it starts changing colors a little bit. I probably don't use it I probably don't get the most out of it as I could. I probably change it a little bit sooner than I would need to, but it's not real expensive, so it's not one of the expensive things that you have to worry about. We'll get a couple more here, and then we're going to dump the stop bath, and you want to take off both. And as you can see, the stop bath is quite yellow. Hopefully you can see. Tilt it quite often because the solution gets locked in there. Okay, now we're going to do the fixer. Fixer you can use over and over again. The big thing about fixer is when you first make up the fixer, it might fix the film in 2 minutes. But then, as it goes on and on, it will take longer and longer to fix your film. This isn't, oh, this is fairly new fixer. I forgot. I just made some up probably a few batches ago. So again, here I go for about, I'll almost turn for a minute for the first minute of the fixer. Like I say, my crazy ways of doing things, not everybody does it this way. Adopt your way, because the way you get the film to come out the way you like it is what's important. That should be about a minute. Now I'm going to wait for about a minute. Now when I get done with this, I'll rinse probably different than a lot of people do, but it's one of those things. I will be rinsing using the water that I have available here in the travel trailer. It's city water, so it's not too bad. I don't drink it. I haven't even tried it. It's probably good to drink. I mean, it is good to drink, but I mean, it's probably nice water. Freddie and I, we use bottled water here. Here I do about 5 more turns, and I'm going to probably fix it for about 4 minutes, because I'm not real sure how much I've used this fixer. I will use it on about 4 minute side of it, and we'll see from there. Well, I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. And then we will rinse, and then I will use a wetting agent. Like I say, I feel like here in the travel trailer that the wetting agent really helps, but I do use the wetting agent with the city water that we have here. Now when I move to another place and I know they're on well water, I will probably use the wetting agent with distilled water. We'll give a few more turns, and we still have a minute or so with the fixer. I'm going to move these off so I don't get them knocked over. That's one thing in a travel trailer. You don't want to knock anything over because you've got everything so packed in. I mean, my breakfast table, it's got the scanner sitting on one side of it, all ready to go when I need it. It's got developing fluid underneath the table. It's got beers that I don't have room for in the refrigerator under the table. So you start getting stuff packed in here and there. So what we're going to do is give this about another 4 or 5 turns, and we're going to call it quits with the fixer and go to rinsing. The fixer I will be saving and reusing again, just like the stop bath. I will be saving and reusing again. The Rodinal developer, that is a one-shot developer, so you cannot reuse that. It gets used up pretty fast. So now we're going to do some rinsing here. I'll fill it up until I see water coming up into the vent. And then we'll put the caps back on. I will push down. Get the vent cap put on. Now what we're going to do is give, what I do is give 15 turns. I will dump this out. I'll fill it up again. This is kind of a semi-modified Ilford rinsing. Oops, that will leak if I don't force it out. And put the Titan top on. Now what I want to do is give it 25 turns. And if you notice, I give full turns. I go over and then back, and that's 1 turn. Now I think Ilford, I'm not real sure, I think they call for 10, 20, and 30 for their rinse. I like to give it a little extra, especially on the 4x5. I mean, there's 4 films in here. See, there's 1, 2, and that's how I count them. Now we're going to go 35 here. Okay, the rinse process is done. What I'm going to do now is use a wetting agent. And I always tilt it back and forth a few times to get as much water out as I can. So now we're going to take the top off. We could have took the top off a long time ago, but there was no reason to. Putting just a little bit of water in there. Got our wetting agent. I put 2 little drops in there. Now you can see it's foamy at the top. So it's basically just a soaping agent. We're just going to leave it in there a few minutes. And so you can see the soaping is on the film. So we will dump that. And then I will use the clips like I showed you earlier. I will take them and hang them in the shower.